the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Party chief attends Vietnam-Singapore Business Forum. And state-owned enterprises drive production through technologies. In our world news, Russia ready to discuss peace initiative on Ukraine with the U.S.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Trân with the top stories. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm attended the Vietnam-Singapore Business Forum Thursday morning as part of his official visit to Singapore. Theme Vietnam, the destination for the era of science, technology, and finance cooperation. The event brought together over 100 businesses from Vietnam, Singapore, and beyond.
At the forum, corporate representatives explored Vietnam's plans to establish an international financial center by 2045, enhance ASEAN financial ties, and expand investment opportunities. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized that Vietnam-Singapore cooperation extends beyond trade, fostering deeper regional economic integration. He stressed the need for high-quality, secure, and well-connected international data centers to support businesses and society. He reaffirmed Vietnam's commitment to creating a favorable business environment for financial center development and private sector investment.
Vietnamese private enterprises are the most effective target for indirect investment funds, and this sector is growing rapidly. We are also working on legal frameworks for virtual and digital currencies to ensure proper development and management. Profit and wealth creation should be encouraged, not restricted, especially when driven by innovation and efficiency. What matters most is trust, understanding, and concrete cooperation.
The Party General Secretary also witnessed the signing of several cooperation agreements. While visiting Pan Sir Panjan Port, the party leader encouraged PSA Singapore to invest in Vietnam's seaport development, emphasizing Singapore's valuable expertise in modernizing ports and logistics. He also proposed sending Vietnamese students to study seaport operations and management. At the National University of Singapore, he called for expanded cooperation in digital transformation, green initiatives, and AI, and urged Singaporean universities to share best practices in linking government, academia, and businesses to advance scientific and technological research.
Also on Thursday, State President Lương Cường held a working session with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to discuss key orientations for foreign affairs in the coming period. He stressed that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must continue to adhere closely to the party's policies and the directives of Party General Secretary Tô Lâm on foreign affairs and international integration. He also stressed that diplomatic activities should aim to expand and deepen relationships, firmly consolidate a peaceful, stable, and favorable environment for development, and enhance Vietnam's position and reputation. The state president emphasized the importance of proactively safeguarding national interests and contributing to achieving an economic growth rate of over 8% this year and double-digit growth in the coming years. State President Lương Cường also held a working session with several agencies regarding amnesty and the early release of prisoners on the 50th anniversary of National Reunification Day, April 30th. He requested the government, the Supreme People's Court, the Supreme People's Procuracy, and relevant agencies direct the amnesty and also ensure fairness and transparency, meeting political, legal, and humanitarian requirements. He also urged collaboration with various sectors to support the successful reintegration of released individuals into the community, facilitating their transformation into productive members of society. At the fourth meeting of the Socio-Economic Subcommittee of the 14th National Party Congress, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, head of the subcommittee, emphasized the need for breakthroughs in science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation, as outlined in Resolution 57. He also stressed the importance of allocating 3% to 5% of total budget expenditures to these areas.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh urged the socio-economic report to be data-driven, highlighting strengths, challenges, and weaknesses while ensuring feasibility for achieving Vietnam's two 100-year goals. He stressed self-reliance, national pride, and a concise, strategic approach.
The report must be rooted in reality, bold in its approach, practical, efficient, and strategic, with a long-term vision for effective implementation.
The Prime Minister urged stronger, more specific implementation of 3 strategic breakthroughs in institutional reform, infrastructure, and human resources. He requested strengthened decentralization, increased local autonomy, and a 30% cut in administrative procedures. He noted that the central level builds strategic projects while localities manage their own. He also highlighted developing high-quality talent and attracting experts with better income, housing, and visa policies. He emphasized creating a transparent business environment, including a national investment one-stop portal. The report must clarify resource mobilization and public-private cooperation through specific models. The private sector remains the key growth driver, requiring mechanisms to support startups, innovation, education, healthcare, and cultural industries. He also stressed addressing air pollution in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, river cleanups, and ensuring a clean, green environment.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh urged French electricity giant EDF to expand its green and clean energy investments in Vietnam. And at a meeting with French Ambassador to Vietnam Olivier Brochet and EDF Senior VP of Government and International Affairs Guy Maillard on Wednesday, the Prime Minister encouraged EDF to support Vietnamese partners in developing nuclear power projects. He urged France and EDF to help Vietnam develop nuclear power policies and mechanisms. And he also called for collaboration with and advice on selecting the most modern and advanced nuclear technologies available today. On Thursday evening, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh met with U.S. Ambassador Mark E. Napper to discuss key areas for bilateral cooperation, marking the 30th anniversary of Vietnam-U.S. diplomatic normalization. The Prime Minister emphasized high-level exchanges and strengthening economic, trade, and investment ties. He called for continued collaboration and proposed that the U.S. recognize Vietnam's market economy status, ease high-tech export restrictions, and also support Vietnam's science, technology, and education growth. He also urged the U.S. to expand humanitarian assistance and support Vietnam to address the lasting effects of the war. Ambassador Napper reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to deepening the comprehensive strategic partnership and emphasized respect for Vietnam's sovereignty and support for its independence and prosperity. Coming up next on VTV News. State-owned enterprises drive production through technologies. And Buck Bling takes the top 1 spot for most impressive MV debut worldwide. Welcome back to VTV News. State-owned enterprises, or SOEs, play a crucial role in the economy, holding nearly about $157 billion in assets and over 20% of the country's business sector capital. Boosting SOE productivity is key to achieving this year's 8% plus economic growth target and also moving toward double-digit growth in the coming years. But to accelerate progress, businesses are prioritizing technology adoption as a key solution.
Fuel payments and invoices are automatically processed via a linked e-wallet, streamlining cashless transactions. The Vietnam National Petroleum Group is piloting this technology to improve cost control and efficiency. The group prioritizes technology adoption and business expansion to achieve growth of over 8%.
We see many benefits, more payment options, enhanced customer experience and convenience. Additionally, transactions are recorded promptly, transparently, and securely, reducing payment risks.
Meanwhile, businesses are adopting advanced technology to meet this year's 60 million ton coal demand for power generation. This company has invested in mechanized mining, boosting capacity to 1.2 million tons annually, 7 times more than traditional methods.
Previously, mining technology produced only 150 tons per year, but productivity has now surged to 600,000 to 1 million tons annually.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade has adjusted industry and production targets to meet 2025 growth goals.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade's action program sets targets of 12.5% growth in electricity production and imports and 9 or 10% industrial growth, with the latter aiming for 12.5%.
Last year, total budget revenue surpassed $78 billion for the first time, with state-owned enterprises contributing over 10%. Strengthening their pioneering role, embracing innovation, and boosting production will contribute to achieving socio-economic development goals.
Vietnam has set an ambitious growth target of 8% for 2025 as part of its long-term goal of becoming a high-income country by 2045. And achieving this target will inevitably lead to higher inflation compared to 2024. Therefore, maintaining a balance between inflation control and economic expansion requires flexible policy management to sustain high growth without triggering adverse inflationary effects.
The National Assembly has adjusted the inflation target to 4.5 to 5% of GDP in 2025, an increase of approximately 0.5 percentage points from previous levels. However, experts remain optimistic, with the World Bank projecting inflation at just 3.5% for 2025 through 2026. Analysts suggest that increasing public investment and credit growth is unlikely to exert immediate inflationary pressures.
If capital is allocated efficiently to productive sectors and credit growth translates into a proportional increase in GDP, it will not necessarily lead to inflation. With credit growth targeted at 16% and public investment directed toward high-impact areas, inflationary pressures are expected to remain manageable.
The focus should be on policies to increase public investment, not just the level, but also the quality of public investment towards productive use, to close the infrastructure gap, so increase transport infrastructure, the distribution of capacity of electricity, and improving connectivity overall.
In 2025, several factors are expected to support Vietnam's efforts to curb inflation. Ongoing tax support policies will help lower the costs of goods and services, easing inflationary pressures. Notably, recent policies measures have strengthened business and consumer confidence.
One particularly positive measure we have observed is the Politburo's decision to exempt tuition fees for students from kindergarten to high school. According to initial estimates from various sources, this policy could help reduce inflation by approximately 0.8% to 1%. In recent years, the Vietnamese dong has maintained a stable exchange rate. To effectively control inflation, macromonetary policies must be carefully regulated. It is not simply a matter of low inflation being good or high inflation being bad. Rather, inflation must be evaluated in the context of global trade dynamics to assess its overall impact.
Achieving 8% GDP growth while keeping inflation below 5% is an ambitious goal, but it is attainable with the right policies. The key lies in maintaining a balance between economic expansion and macroeconomic stability. Effective inflation control, improved credit quality, efficient capital utilization, and boosted consumer spending will be essential for Vietnam to sustain both growth and economic stability in 2025.
Now, the first job fair of 2025, organized by Ho Chi Minh City's Department of Home Affairs, landed job seekers more than 7,300 positions. 59 businesses participated in the job fair at 7 direct and online recruitment locations, bringing rich and diverse job opportunities to more than 1,000 job seekers who registered to attend. In addition to unskilled labor, there has been greater recruitment for highly skilled jobs. And in the first 2 months of the year, Ho Chi Minh City recorded a decrease of 11% in unemployment insurance beneficiaries compared to the same period last year, partly due to the contribution of job fairs in connecting people on unemployment benefits with work opportunities. Recently, poverty reduction in Đắk Nông province, especially in ethnic areas, has achieved many positive results thanks to policies supporting sustainable livelihoods. Instead of focusing only on subsidies, the locality has implemented many economic development initiatives. And thanks to that, many households have escaped poverty and secured steady income.
Having been a particularly low-income household in the border area for many years, this woman's family now has an income of about $392 per month thanks to selling hens' eggs. This is due to the poverty reduction program implemented by the Đắk Nông Provincial People's Committee.
The family's circumstances were very difficult previously, so the authorities provided us with a flock of 80 chickens. I hope that the chickens will lay more eggs to help us earn more money.
In 2021 to 2025, Đắk Nông province allocated more than $3.6 million to construct over 200 poverty reduction campaigns, as suggested by local communities, to support nearly 2,000 households. The effectiveness of the poverty reduction program helps people increase their income and contributes to helping Đắk Nông province achieve creditable results in poverty reduction.
New poverty reduction models have changed the awareness of low-income households, and people's thinking about how to do business and escape poverty sustainably has changed.
From 2021 to 2025, poverty reduction, especially in ethnic areas, has been identified as a bright spot in Đắk Nông. By the end of 2021, the province's total number of poor households accounted for nearly 12%, but now it is only less than 3%.
The program to support livelihoods according to people's wishes not only helps thousands of households escape poverty sustainably but, above all, has changed their mindsets so that they no longer rely on support from the state.
New social housing projects in the Mekong Delta are turning the dream of home ownership into a reality for many low-income earners. With strong investment and policy support from government agencies and local authorities, not only has housing supply improved, but favorable policies are also making it easier for low-income individuals to purchase homes.
For a monthly payment of around $240, this home buyer can purchase this social housing unit. Thanks to a government-backed initiative, he, along with many other low-income earners, now has a realistic path to homeownership.
I moved from Hào Giang and have always wished for a home to settle down in and build a future. Thanks to state policies and support from the developer, I now have a home. I'm truly grateful.
In the Mekong Delta, 38 social housing projects have already been completed, delivering over 10,000 housing units. Local authorities are now investing in an additional 54 projects that will create 35,000 more homes, spanning a total floor area of more than 11 million square meters.
We plan to develop 1,200 social housing units by 2025, working closely with investors to ensure proper housing for workers.
Following government directives, financial institutions are now offering loans to help young buyers purchase social housing units. Thanks to increased supply and expanded policy incentives, millions of low-income residents in the Mekong Delta will soon have a permanent place to call home.
Now in March, the Northwest enters the banflower season. The pure white color covers the mountains and hills, signaling the arrival of a vibrant festival season. The Banflower Festival has become a tourism highlight, attracting tens of thousands of visitors from inside and outside the country to Điện Biên province.
These days, Điện Biên Phủ city in Điện Biên province is covered in white banflowers on the mountain ridges and peaks. Visitors can capture the wonderful moments of the northwestern spring.
This year's banflower season is very beautiful, signaling a prosperous and favorable year ahead.
The banflowers are beautiful, blooming everywhere in a magnificent and perfect way.
The Banflower Festival is held in March, a historic month. 71 years ago, the battles began here, marking the start of the Điện Biên Phủ campaign.
I visited the site and was impressed by how well it's preserved, especially with the banflowers in bloom. I was deeply moved and plan to visit again.
First held in 2014, the Banflower Festival has undergone an impressive development journey, evolving from a local culture event into a unique tourism product, attracting numerous domestic and international visitors.
Building on past successes, this year's Banflower Festival features cultural showcases, a Banflower beauty contest, and efforts to attract visitors to Dien Bien.
After the success of the 2024 Điện Biên National Tourism Year and the 70th anniversary of the Điện Biên Phủ victory, Điện Biên has become a must-visit destination. The highlight of this year's Banflower Festival is the opening art event, Điện Biên, the Blooming Ban Colors, on March 14.
Music video Bắc Bling rose to the top 1 position of most impressive MV debut worldwide on YouTube charts world with 43 million views after only 11 days of release. Bắc Bling is the biggest music project in Hoa Minzi's career to date, showcasing her deep love for her hometown, the northern province of Bắc Ninh. The music video uniquely blends traditional and modern music and features special appearances by artists Xuân Hinh and Tuấn Cry. The music video inspires many people to seek first-hand experience of the destinations featured in the music video. It also helps to prove that music videos that tap into cultural values can serve as entertainment and effective tools and channels for tourism promotion. Coming up next in our world news. Russia ready to discuss peace initiative on Ukraine with the U.S. And art as therapy, Swiss doctors prescribe museum visits. Now moving on to our world news, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said Russia was ready to talk to the United States about the peace initiative the U.S. and Ukraine have discussed, and contacts would take place on Thursday. Zakharova said that Russia read the statement adopted after the meeting between the U.S. and Ukraine and is ready to discuss the initiatives outlined during future contacts with the U.S. side. However, Russia has not yet received any official requests on this matter. The Kremlin said earlier that U.S. negotiators were flying to Russia. It said Kremlin Foreign Policy Advisor Yuri Ushakov and U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has spoken by phone on Wednesday. Seoul will provide $42.1 million worth of export vouchers to 1,300 Korean companies this year to help them respond to global trade uncertainty, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy said on Thursday. Export vouchers are part of a government program that allows small and medium-sized enterprises to freely use 7,200 export-related services, such as business consultations and assistance in overseas market expansions and exploration. Due to the export vouchers, South Korean exporting SMEs are expected to overcome the heightened uncertainty in the global trade market. In Neuchâtel, Switzerland, physicians have allowed residents to visit museums as part of their healthcare plan. The initiative aims to promote mental and emotional well-being through cultural experiences. More to follow.
The city of Neuchâtel in western Switzerland launched the pilot project with doctors last month in the hopes of helping residents struggling with a range of sicknesses and syndromes and to promote physical activity.
It allows people to get out of their daily lives. It allows them to simply get out of their house, to maybe take some physical exercise, maybe that's saying a lot, but yes, to take a few steps, to walk. For people who sometimes have difficulties with their mental health, it allows them just at a moment to forget their worries, their pain, their illness.
500 prescriptions will be handed out for free visits to 4 sites, including 3 museums and the city's botanical garden.
At the beginning, it's true that everything seems dark. It's true that with time, too, and then the fact precisely of going out, I think that it brings a little light into the darkness.
Authorities say the idea came from a 2019 World Health Organization study exploring the role for the arts in promoting health and preventing and treating illness. During COVID-19 lockdowns, museum closures hit people's well-being, said Julie Corsier Delafontaine, who heads the city's culture department, persuading them further of their worth. The project will be tested for a year and could be expanded to other activities, such as the theater.
And as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app, VTVgo, or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.